thanks again for Linode for sponsoring this episode of the news. They've actually upped our affiliate link, so instead of getting 1 month of credit, you now get $60 of credit, which you can make last up to 3 months, I think. Or it's $60 or 60 days, so 2 months, I guess, of credit. So if you use our affiliate link, you can get a little bit more credit and experiment with things. They really want you to mess with that Kubernetes cluster and some of the other services like their Amazon S3 substitute, which is quite competent. You should definitely give that a spin. They've also been writing a lot of how-tos. So like setting up the WireGuard thing, which I think we can improve on. And we will soon improve on because WireGuard. They've got a lot more services today than they did previously. You should really check it out. And in fact, if you're going to do a commercial migration to like Kubernetes from Google Compute Cloud or even some of the Azure Compute services and you're using Kubernetes, come to the Level 1 forum. I'll actually help you do that. So thank you, Linode, and on with the news.
Hello, chat. Today is August 28th, 2020, and in these unprecedented times, we are also doing something unprecedented here on the Level 1 News. Today is all nonsense. No other type of story, just nonsense.
Tech nonsense, as it turns out,
now,
mostly.
Our first story is just really dark.
It's sort of dark.
It doesn't really qualify as nonsense, but I didn't feel like it went in the other categories that great. I mean, I guess we could have done government, but it's just really sad, really. But I think it bears mentioning because the world needs to know about this kind of thing. And if you just picked up a new Lenovo laptop for your kid, you can feel bad about yourself.
The Intercept reports that kids may be using laptops made with forced labor this fall. Lenovo computers were manufactured under a Chinese government program to provide cheap labor from the persecuted Uyghur Muslims. So
that's not good.
Yeah, sort of bad. Lenovo was not... so Lenovo outsourced their labor to another company, which is named here in the article, and they made a lot of tech products. So it wasn't just Lenovo, but Lenovo sort of probably was in on it. I mean, the State Department has sort of condemned this and been involved. Lenovo, for its part, said that they have identified and held some laptops from being shipped. Some schools have reported that their Chromebooks have been held up for unknown reasons, and that may be Lenovo holding those shipments while they investigate. But at the same time, this is basically like prison labor here in America.
What do you do with them if it turns out they were in fact slave labor?
Sell them to India.
I mean,
Iran.
It doesn't make sense. Well, I mean, it's not the laptop's fault.
No.
Yeah,
Lenovo should be punished.
On a consumer level, there's nothing you can do.
The Lenovo should be punished, but I don't see why they shouldn't. Maybe just give them away.
Yeah, they could probably donate them. It's like, here, we're not going to make any money on these. In fact, we're going to take a loss.
I don't know. That's sad.
We have prison labor here in America, and we have a lot of people in prison over really ridiculous nonsense. But it is not nearly as bad as what we have seen out of China.
But it is. So they can. It's not as bad. Okay, yeah, definitely. I'm trying to say that it is, but you get time off your sentence if you work. So, but you get paid like 75 cents a day.
Yeah.
Which is slave labor. Let's be honest. You couldn't do that in the free world. So they're saying to you, you have a choice. You can make us a bunch of money and do labor, or you can stay in prison for a lot longer. So clearly it's not about rehabilitation or punishment or you fulfilling your sentence. They're willing to let that go. It's about making money.
Yeah. It's very disappointing.
This headline, and we've talked about this story several times. This is a new chapter in the story.
We've had some people comment on the last three newses, like, when are you guys going to cover this? It's like, okay.
Now, I remember, do you remember, was it Brazil?
Mm-hmm.
Where they did this, and it just went straight Jurassic Park.
Life found a way.
The females became males. The fertility that wasn't supposed to happen, happened. The eggs that weren't supposed to hatch, hatched. And they were like, yeah, those are going to bite you now, aren't they? Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
We didn't make it worse, at least. CNN Health reports that 750 million genetically engineered mosquitoes have been approved for release in the Florida Keys. The idea with these are that they're not going to produce viable offspring. Everything still happens as normal, but then they don't actually produce any viable offspring.
But these are only males. So if you don't know about mosquitoes, the males don't bite you. They only use blood for reproduction, not for. Actually, they just eat nectar. They're just like gentle guys cruising around. and these evil harpy women come along and feed on the humans. So they're like, hey, we're going to release these males, and then they're going to mate with the females, but they're messed up. So those eggs are never going to hatch.
It's like me.
Actually, only the female eggs are never going to hatch. The male eggs do hatch and create more messed up males. What was the name of the thing in Mass Effect where like the really violent aliens couldn't breed anymore?
I don't remember that part.
They had a thing like that. And in the later games, you teamed up with one of those guys, and he was a little bitter. But yeah, I can't see this going as expected. And again, I think it was Brazil where it did not go as expected. The eggs hatched and there were females, but
this is your preview of the 2021 events from the Level 1 news right here.
So we'll see. I imagine if you live in one of these places, the idea of getting rid of mosquitoes does appeal to you quite a bit because they are horrific. Just the ones that we have. We don't even have strong ones.
They're mid-tier at best.
Yeah.
Drop hardly any loot.
They're like level 4. So we had a fun little event. You kind of get this idea because constantly NASA and all the space people are like, hey, there's an asteroid and it's 1 billion miles away, but we're on it. We're tracking it.
Don't worry about it.
We know all about it, which makes this weird.
A car-sized asteroid made the closest Earth flyby a space rock has ever survived. It zoomed by at just 1,800 miles away. Now, even though it was the size of a car, if it had gone down, it probably wouldn't have been terrible because that's not super large.
It would have burned, I think.
Yeah. Or
but
exploded.
They didn't know anything about it till after it was passed.
Whoops. Nah, it's fine.
Is the guy who like monitors that? Is he just working from home? He's like, you know what? I need another coffee, and he just gets up and leaves the monitor, and then it's blinking for a minute, but it disappears.
He's playing with his dog.
Nothing ever happens. Oh no! There goes Sacramento.
Another thing that NASA is keeping an eye on is the Earth's magnetic field. And if there's ever been a candidate for the September event, this has got to be it.
NASA is tracking a vast growing anomaly in Earth's magnetic field. So it's sort of weakening there around, there's a nice picture there, it's sort of weakening. And it may be weakening into like 2 different spots. Like this area has kind of grown and it looks like it's sort of forming 2 nodes. That's what the article says. This isn't really super bad for stuff on the surface of Earth, the weakening of the magnetic field, but reaching into space, the magnetic field maybe is not going to protect things like the space station from super energetic protons.
What about a solar storm?
Ooh, yeah, that would
one
be
of those
bad.
mass ejections right into the weak spot.
Remember when the last time that happened, it set the telegraph wires on fire? Because our highest level of technology was the telegraph, and it's like, that's weird. The telegraph doesn't require power anymore. That's weird. The unplugged and not powered up telegraph has set the office on fire.
Level 1 techs now selling Faraday cages. Buy yours today.
Buy your whole house Faraday cage for the low price of $39,999, $995.
Feel the security of being encased in lead 24/7.
You won't be able to use your devices, but man, the security that brings.
And we're still in our houses. Most people are, and we've talked about the time compression. Perhaps the one ray of hope, it's not even that, but the one mercy, that's the good word for it, that we have during these dark times is it turns out we may have no memory of anything that happened during all this time.
We won't remember much of what happened in the pandemic or what we did in the pandemic. There's a good reason that we have such vivid memories of our holidays, according to this article. So it's like, hey, when there's nothing happening, you're not really going to remember it. 2020 is going to be over before you know it.
And even if stuff does happen, if there's no change of venue, you have a tough time with it. So it could be nonstop action, but all in the same house for a long period of time, and it's still, your brain is just like, probably not important.
When I'm doing some work in one room and I go to the other room, I have a tough time remembering. So it makes sense. It tracks.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to forgetting it all. Wipe my brain out right now.
Time for some more Tarkov.
Here's a fun story about our past. Boy, they had some ambitious projects during the Cold War, didn't they? This one, unfortunately, never panned out, but it is impressive.
They did build a non-nuclear version of this, according to the thing.
Well, that's a big difference.
Yeah. The CIA built a nuclear bird drone to spy on communists, and now it's declassified. So this thing was basically a really early spy plane. It just had a camera, and it would beam images back to another plane farther away. And they had ideas for making a nuclear-powered one that would have like a 30-day flight time. But they never built that.
That's not it. That's the SR-71. They don't have another picture? Oh, here we go. Yeah. Here's a side pic of it.
So
See, they would have you believe that the bird drones don't exist, but this was the first one.
Well, it's crazy, right? Because in the Cold War, we dreamed of having constant aerial surveillance of communists, and now over every major city, we have constant aerial surveillance of communists.
And Democrats and Republicans and the Uyghur Muslims and literally everybody on planet Earth. There's some goat farmer in like rural Ireland that has just his own satellite. It's like, I don't know, that guy's kind of suspicious. He just farms goats all day.
I was watching, for a while I was into like the combat footage on YouTube, and they have those aerial planes where they just rain death down. It's all in FLIR. And they had some guys and they were hiding in a field, and they all had like, RPGs and stuff, and they were hiding out, and they were like, oh, send in the Spectre. And you could just watch the explosions, and you're just like, yeah, USA. But then they had a goat. I felt bad.
Oh.
That goat had no idea what was going on.
The human life I'm fine with, but not the goat. There were a lot of really, really funny but racist comments about the goat and what it might have been subjected to before its death. So, Krista, I thought this one would particularly interest you because your sleep schedule is something else.
It's screwed up. Some nights I go to bed really early. Other nights I can't sleep at all. And you never know which one it's going to be.
Now, they say in this article that some people are just fine with that sort of thing, but based on the yawning activity, I don't know if you're one of those candidates.
No, I'm definitely not. Individual circadian clocks might be the next frontier of personalized medicine.
So what they're talking about is sleep. And everybody needs 6 to 8 hours. Nope. There's an example of somebody in there that is just fine at 4.5 hours. And they figure that a lot of sleep disorders lead to other health problems. Things like high blood pressure and neuronal degeneration and stuff like that. So it could be that the fix for some things is circadian rhythms, or you could just be a mutant.
I think my rhythm is about, left to my own devices, I think it's about 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah, I'm definitely what's the word I'm looking for? A late bird? What's the word?
The opposite of an early bird?
Yeah.
A night owl?
Night owl, there you go.
Night owl, there we go.
Yeah, I'm a night owl too.
Bird.
I used to only need like 4 or 5 hours of sleep in college, but that's not. I don't think that I finally adjusted, but it took forever.
I think that's one of the things they pointed out is when you get older, that's where the dimension will get you.
Hmm.
You got to sleep it up. My parents, not right after they retired, but when they started to, get older in their retirement, they started staying up to like 1 and 2 a.m., which cracked me up because they never did that. I was like, yeah, that just happens. You're just doing stuff. You stay up. I don't even think about touching my face anymore. Like when we first got into this, I was kind of a little bit terrified of it. I'm so jaded to it now. I just don't care. I mean, do you even consider it at this point?
I still try not to touch my face, and I still try to wash my hands religiously, but I've always got to have something to fidget with to keep my hands busy.
Oh, that thing is slathered.
Yeah, it's just covered. But it's
I
cool.
won't wash my face when I'm in public.
We can go bleach it. It's fine.
I wash my hands 50 times a day just because of the cats. Because every time I pet the cats, I wash my hands. And I can hardly pass them up without, giving them some kind of love. So I'm not worried about that. But yeah, face touching, I don't know. This device does more than that, but this is an interesting aspect of it.
This wearable that is created is the necessity's the mother of invention here. I'm not going to read the headline exactly. It will shock you with 450 volts when you touch your face because of the thing. So you'll learn not to touch your face.
Pavlok is a great name.
That is a good name.
I wonder if I can make this respond to cats meowing. Now that would be something. So that's not the only thing you can do. Some of the other uses for it were actually pretty hilarious. If you spend a certain amount over, let's say you spend $200 in a week on Amazon, it'll give you one. It's like, don't do that. You know better than that.
Okay.
We should get one of these for Nubbin when he makes irresponsible Twitch donations.
He's watching this right now, and he's like, "No, I've pledged not to do that."
Yeah, he's done that before. So yeah, if you just cannot control yourself, maybe look into the Pavlok. Give us this is the engagement challenge. What would you program the Pavlok to do? They said some of it had to do with foods that you eat, but how would it know?
I don't know.
Maybe there's a
I
camera
can see
that's
someone
watching.
mentioned nail biting in the comments here. That makes sense.
I've never done that.
Yeah, I haven't really either.
We get one of these stories every week now. Like, no one learns. Maybe they're not reading the news, but they're definitely, how could you not consider this? I do, like, after we stream sometimes, the camera points right at where I sit on the couch in my normal daily, like TV watching and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to unplug that. What if that was just on the entire time?
I've been hacked.
You've been watching me eat chips all day.
Pittsburgh Public School board member forgot to shut off camera and showers during a live meeting. They've since edited the playback to hide that, but she was like, oh yeah, whoops, yeah, I was just trying to multitask. It was a public meeting with a lot of people. All she really needed to do was just listen to the meeting. So, I guess you could multitask and listen to the meeting while showering, but whoops, left the video running.
I think what this really points out is that nobody takes these meetings seriously.
Yeah.
They're just a waste of time, like most meetings.
Yeah.
And you're just looking to get through them any way you can. You can't hear anything in the shower.
If you turn it up loud enough, you could.
For laptop speakers?
Oh, that's a good point.
Also, who isn't singing in the shower?
And again, here's another story that we're getting almost on a weekly basis. This one I think is a little more overt than usual. Usually it's like, that's crazy. This one, maybe there's some merit to it, I think.
Anchorage student arrested after threatening virtual classrooms with a gun, officials say. So this is a student who was apparently brandishing a firearm on a video conference, but he was arrested because he was threatening a classroom. It was a virtual classroom. This, I think, is a little different than the other story that we covered where, some kid, that was in the Boy Scouts had a gun on the back wall. And I was like, oh, that made some people uncomfortable. But there really isn't a lot of details in this story, though.
Well, they said he used expletives and aggressive language. So I think he was like, pointing at the screen. And
but no one was in danger.
But if he told them, like if you called up the school and was like, I'm coming to shoot all you.
Yeah. That would end badly.
Right.
So
I kind of get that one a little bit.
Imagining a guy like pointing a gun at a screen, it reminds me of like that video of the guy pointing a gun at a chicken and screaming, "Give me tendies." It's just like, what are you doing?
Oh, I forgot to add the story about the chicks. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, the ones that died.
Oh yeah, it was sad.
The tendy supplies, and it's under extreme threat. What are we gonna do? Pork tendies? No, it's not the same. I cannot imagine doing this.
Pork's under threat too.
All right, the Chinese thing. Could either of you even consider?
No.
I
value my privacy too much.
How much time do you think you could do?
A day?
Yeah, maybe a day.
I might be able to do a week.
Yeah, I don't know about a week.
This man live streamed his entire life, even bathroom breaks, for a year straight. He says it helped him change for the better.
So this guy was just a straight up loser. He had gone on Fear Factor, the game show, and I guess he won because he had a bunch of money. And he was just using that money to live a beatnik lifestyle, doing nothing. And he actually talked about, there might have been some mental health issues here. He decided that he was going to, when the money ran out, he was just going to kill himself.
That's not healthy.
No, that's not healthy at all. Well, does anything about this seem healthy to you?
Mm.
So he decided instead of doing that, he would simply live stream every aspect of his life for a year. And he did.
It seems like it's worked out so far.
He didn't gain anything from it. He had a Patreon with like 6 contributors who really liked watching him.
Well, the article said that he got thousands of subscribers once he figured out that there were not safe for work streaming places that he could stream going to the bathroom and sex, apparently.
And he found one girl who was cool with it and banged her on camera.
Still, I think he's a better person on the other side of this.
Well, I mean, if he's not suicidal anymore, I guess, yeah. I think things are better, I suppose. Just seems...
Has he found himself? Has he found purpose?
I mean, I guess it would give you... It's kind of like when people journal. It gives you a chance to, like, look back and see what you did wrong and then try to fix it, but...
How crazy. It's like, okay, Bob, the good news is you've got a very loyal following. So you could probably build on that. Now, here's the bad news. They're the kind of people who want to watch others go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's like some of our followers.
The end of this article. Other than that, he's resuming his nomadic lifestyle by living in his Prius and searching for the next adventure.
What a great life.
It's not a good time to be searching for the next adventure. That
It's
might involve a respirator.
Nomadic lifestyle, you'd want at least a van.
That's what he wanted in the first place, right? It's win-win. Chris, this story, it's got to be something that you love because it involves art and that sweet dank weed.
Yes, I do so many of the weeds. Someone turned green lights in Spokane into pot leaves.
I thought these were like the ones with the little dots, the LEDs. But no, this is just a cardboard cutout. But it's really well done.
Yeah.
It is really well done.
And they did more than one of them.
I think they got a whole intersection.
Would anyone even be angry? I guess the city might, but like, this is so
well,
harmless.
The whole state of Washington's legal, right?
Yeah. If I were the city, because it's cardboard and not a stencil from like spray paint, I would be even less angry. So it's like, all we got to do is take down some cardboard. This is good for the lulz. It's fine.
Yeah.
I guess it could hurt the visibility of the light. On like a really sunny day, sometimes it's hard to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the real question is how you get it up there.
A box
Someone
truck.
spent a lot of time.
He was his friend was driving a box. No, I don't know. I'm sure they'll have it on cameras or something.
Aren't that was in San Francisco, right? Where the lights themselves were cameras. Here's a great story, and surprisingly, not the first ninja story we've had the nonsense in a while. It seems like ninjas are really having a resurgence in Japan. I love it.
Stealthy thieves broke into a Japanese ninja museum and stole 1 million yen. That's only about $10,000 US. But they knew there were cameras, and they pointed one of the cameras at the ground. And then they stealthily broke in and stole a 300-pound safe.
I don't know how stealthily it was. They just busted down a door.
But they got a 300-pound safe out without a trace.
Wow, that's impressive.
Like, did they get it out or did they just bust it open?
I know. I said the safe was gone.
Oh. That doesn't seem like ninjutsu to me.
Pro criminal tip, you got to leave the safe behind. That's evidence.
Did they use a ninja forklift? A hand cart?
We don't know because they moved the cameras.
Just smoke bomb.
Yeah, it would have been more impressive if they hadn't seen the approaching car, and I'd say they'll catch these guys.
That's a long way to go for 10 grand.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a pretty good amount of money, though. You remember the guy who got the ninja degree?
Mm-hmm.
They interviewed him for that story.
The only one in the world.
Like, who are you going to turn to?
Yeah.
There's nobody else. He's fielding phone calls all day long, giving ninja tips. This story left me with a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Because they did not explain why nothing happened in this time frame. I imagine it's just like poor infrastructure.
I guess.
I really want to know why this was left to go for so long.
Brazilian supermarket covers a deceased worker's body with umbrellas to keep store open. So, dude had a heart attack. Dude was, restocking produce, had a heart attack, killed over. They went to check on him. No pulse. He's dead. We'll call an ambulance, but they're not going to be in a hurry because he's already dead. Let's just cover him with umbrellas.
Now here's the $1 million question. Did those umbrellas go right back in the umbrella stand?
Yes, they absolutely
sure
did.
they did. Yeah.
They absolutely did. But hey, that's better than America, because in America, Walmart would have billed his family.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like now that I've never thought about this before, but like, what do you do when an employee just keels over in the middle of the day? I mean,
Well,
obviously this is not the right answer, but
You have some sort of coroner or emergency workers that come and get the body.
Yeah.
why did it take so long?
That's my question.
That's so weird.
Also, during that time, like, the body's going to evacuate. So you're going to have a slurry of, like, blood and
Human
feces
soup.
and urine.
Yeah.
And then the gas builds up and escapes. So you're going to have, like, the 45-second fart of death gas at some point. That probably wouldn't happen in 4 hours. But within 4 hours, it's going to get real nasty.
Yeah.
Does
This
it
is
make
just a
you...
reminder to take your vacation time because this is what your employer does. If you keel over, if you're that dedicated that you stay during a heart attack.
Those of you working extra hours because you believe in Tesla, they will throw an umbrella right over you.
Will Tom's body lubricate the machines to make them go faster? Yeah? All right, we'll just chuck him in there.
I see a lot of these stories. I see UP, I think upper provinces. And I'm like, this is in Canada? But no, it's something else. I can't. Uttar Pradesh? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, I don't. This is an engagement challenge because we have some fans in India. Because it's just like I don't even know what to think about this.
I don't know. This didn't surprise me because I don't know a lot about Indian culture. But it seems like the stereotype of a lot of Indian marriages is that the woman is constantly like on the attack. And the man is just sort of like dismissing her.
I'm imagining like old episodes of I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
But Lucy was kind of
But this
demure
is
when
bizarre, though.
Yeah, it's just it's insane.
She was demure, but also conniving.
Yeah.
So, UP woman seeks divorce as husband, quote unquote, doesn't fight with her and says he loves her too much. I don't know. Go ahead.
One of the things she mentions is like, I made a mistake at something, and instead of like talking to me about it or fighting with me about it, he just said he still loved me. And it's like, I mean,
even Desi threatened physical violence against Lucy every now and then.
that's just part of a healthy marriage, right?
What if it's
Making a joke.
What if it's really like he's doing it, but he's doing it in a very patronizing way.
She just doesn't pick up on the sarcasm.
It's like bless your heart. Bless your heart can be such a great insult.
It is, and it's, yeah.
Oh, bless
so
your
good.
heart.
Bless it. It tried.
So
Also, they said he does all the chores and stuff too, though. So I think this guy just might be, a simp. Which I think we've discussed that term before. But
engagement challenge. What's the Indian word for simp?
What do you think? Maybe she was intentionally making things difficult and to try to get a divorce?
I wonder if some of it might be like because that's a big Spanish thing, right? Like not South American Spanish, but Spain Spanish, where it's like a fiery romance.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we fight, but it's just that much hotter in bed later. And she's fantasizes about.
Again, I Love Lucy.
Yeah. And, he doesn't give her that. He's just passive. And she's like, no, I want. Hit me.
He's the strong, manly type. She's the one that can hear radio stations in her feelings.
So she went to the whatever local authority there was, and they were like, what? What is wrong with you? Now, did you... I didn't quite understand this part. A lot of these stories hit me like that a lot because, like the cultural differences. Did you get the impression that he petitioned on her behalf afterwards?
Yeah.
To try to get the case reopened against him?
Yeah.
That he is the lord of all cucks is what this man is. I mean, he's living
I just wanted her to be happy.
Yeah. Just kill me.
that's
Is it
bizarre.
If he just wanted her to be happy, could he not grant the divorce?
That's a good question. Well, I don't think it's in his power because the way divorce works over there,
I don't know.
have to.
Engagement challenge.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that province.
There's a link in the article that was like, it was first reported on this website. So I clicked it, and it's all in Hindi. I don't know what I expected.
Yeah. Crazy story. We're gonna get a comment. It's like, that's fake. I'm an indie. That's fake. That happens so much.
Probably. We'll see.
Now this is where it goes when we play the game that nobody can be offended. When we let everybody have, their say, and you're not allowed to say anything that offends anybody, and you can't question anything. We get this, and you get that movie about the little girls on Netflix. This is where we are, people. This is the end game.
There's some people that are subscribing on Patreon and Floatplane right now just for that, and maybe a few that are leaving. The AP has the headline, Hansel and Gretel is unfair to witches, a school board has been told. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that the Grimm's fairy tale version of Hansel and Gretel was about an old witch that deliberately made her house out of candy, as opposed to other more appropriate building materials, to
longer lasting for sure,
to lure children into her house for predatory purposes,
to eat them.
Predatory purposes.
She wanted to eat them, and in fact, caged the boy, and revealed her plan of eating both children. Now, did the story go so far as to generalize and say that all witches engage in this practice, or was it just this particular witch? I think it was inferred. So these witches, I don't know what the name of their organization was. Do you remember that? They said that this just perpetuates stereotypes against witches.
I mean, to be honest, I was expecting more headlines like this about things like, not to intentionally throw out any bait here at all, but Lord of the Rings, because some of those descriptions in Lord of the Rings, not super well disguised anti-Semitic rants, maybe.
Now, personally, I think the problem is, like with many things in our society, it's the language that you're using. And I think that's why I only ever say women of magic, which is too derogatory. There's too much pain tied up in the word witch. Women of magic.
What about Zers of magic?
What's disturbing about this is it says the association last year received 500 reports of censorship or requests for help on censorship. So that's like a 15% of the total attempts. Topping the list of challenge book is Catcher in the Rye, Huckleberry Finn.
It's got a couple of the N-bombs in it.
Yeah, so it's not too surprising.
Which they printed in that article. Bold move, AP. Did you know about the Ravens?
No.
Yeah, this was new to me, but apparently that's a big thing over there across the pond. I had never heard of it before. Chris, did you know anything about the Ravens?
I did not know anything about this story.
Stupid Americans.
Bored ravens straying from Tower of London as tourist numbers fall. Legend warns that the monarchy and building will crumble if resident birds flee the fortress.
What would we do without the monarchy? Oh, they had more pictures.
Well, she is like
they're kind of already crumbling, right?
And she's like, the queen is sort of already on borrowed time.
There's one of them. They actually have the ravens named. There are 6 ravens plus a backup raven. And they live on the grounds. Charles II is the one who said, if we lose the ravens, the monarchy will fall. I don't know what he was basing that on. But they hang out. People feed them French fries and stuff like that. It's a good time. Well, guess what? There's no people.
The ravens will leave soon too. Well, it's the youngest prince. He's no longer part of the royal family.
No, but there'll be a king, right?
But and then Andrew is Epsteining it up. So
what if he became king
left to?
and just turned the whole palace into Sodom and Gomorrah? Just went full tilt into it.
I don't think he's in the line of inheritance now, but wow.
It's like, I heard Hef died. Is the ranch for sale?
Just empty the preschools into the tower. The whole Karen meme has really picked up. How much longer do you think this has? It's got to burn out soon, right?
I think people now. There's Kyle, Karen, and Kyle. I think
Christmas 2020. I'm calling it. Will be done like after the holiday shopping. New Year, actually, after New Year. Well, I guess let's go mid-January because we have the return window, right? Mm. After that, I think we'll be done with Karen. We'll be on to something new. That's my prediction. We'll revisit it. When it's proven true, tweet me with a clip of this.
what's even more of a Karen than a Karen? Because I think the escalating level of like entitlement and like screaming at other human beings is just going to continue.
Super Karen?
What name
You don't
replaces
even know
Karen?
the start of my power.
That's the Super Karen.
What's a name that has Karen in it? Anyway, if you are one of these people, you don't actually have to be named Karen, but if you are that, overbearing personality, there's opportunities.
Call a Karen. Company wants to pay a hypercritical Karen $65 an hour to review products. 3 products a week.
And you have to operate the Call a Karen helpline. I didn't get a good feeling about what that was exactly. I think people ask you questions about the products.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I've got a level 1 review in the pipeline. There's 3 different kinds of sinks, and I put it together and I was watching it and I was like, I don't know that I need this, because it's like sink technology. It's like I've got a sink and I'm going to put a faucet in the sink, and I've got Kingston Brass, Moen, and Kohler, and it's like, what are the differences between these 3 brands? It may shock you.
Clickbait title built in. Now you're hitting all the high points with that
You
one.
have to do the thumbnail with you like gasping too.
Yeah, so it turns out that like sink technology is widely varied, or faucet technology, I should say.
One of the amazingly, it seems like one of the big issues going into this election might be legalizing weed. And it's all wrapped up into that whole, like people of color persecution, drug war kind of stuff. And I think Trump is actually a little bit worried about it. Now, he can't back it because he'll lose his base. But he has to know that that'll bring out the voters.
I had forgotten about the U.S. elections.
Oh,
How?
Because I thought it was still February.
don't even imagine.
No, I wish.
But because, we do still have those crazy laws, but we have since very recently, I think it was this year maybe or last year, we've legalized hemp cultivation. Now, hemp, if you don't know, is basically the same plant, but there's no THC in it. There's none of the psychoactive drug. It looks exactly the same, but it doesn't get you high, and that leads to problems.
It's not cannabis. A farmer hopes to nip hemp stealing in the bud. I see what you did there with that headline. So he's put up, the standard issue no trespassing private property signs, but it also says this is industrial hemp. This is not weed.
Most people don't know the difference though, which is kind of a bummer for him.
He tells the story of people just like the car screeching to a halt and them running out and just filling their arms and running back to the car.
I don't know where is this guy located? Where
Alta? I don't know where Alta is.
Is this California?
Oh, this is Canada. CTV.
Oh, okay.
So it's all
I was
legal
thinking-
there, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like if you did that here, like in Kentucky, that's a good way. You either run into a booby trap or someone's going to shoot you if you start stealing crops.
You get your foot caught in a bear trap.
Yeah.
My dad worked for a newspaper for a while after he retired, and they called him and they were like, hey, we're going to burn this weed crop we found up in the mountains. You want to come and take pictures of it? And he was like, I'll do a story about that. And he went up there, and the cops had all like moved to another area in the weed farm, and they were like, taking their own evidence pictures and stuff. So he was just there by himself taking pictures, and he said the 4 guys on 4-wheelers with shotguns on their back pulled up, and they're like, what the hell are you doing up here? And then the cops like poke their head up and they just turn around. So yeah, it's not at all uncommon. Of course, everybody's going to make this connection here, but remember Chocolate Rain?
No, because we're old.
Well, it happened. It happened for real. And it was because of the Lindt chocolate company.
A Lindt factory malfunction causes chocolate snow, not chocolate rain, chocolate snow, to fall in Swiss town. Yeah, it was cocoa powder, literally everywhere.
Chocolate Snow is Chocolate Rain's hip-hop cousin in Canada.
Yeah. So it's cocoa powder. There was an explosion, and it just went literally everywhere.
One car was affected.
Oh, lightly coated.
I bet it smells good there now.
Could cause like a pest problem in your car, I bet.
Yeah.
Although it probably gets in the filters, and your car just smells delightful.
Isn't chocolate poisonous to a lot of animals?
Dogs, for sure. We don't know about birds. trying to think like what would eat it off the car.
I wonder if the reason that chocolate is delicious for human beings is because it was also originally poisonous for human beings, but the human beings lacked the self-control to stop eating the chocolate, and they all died.
I feel like we would have recorded that at some point. I mean, I don't think we started making chocolate till pretty late in the game, right?
No. I think South American Indians were doing it for a long time, or South American natives or whatever.
It's a pretty involved process, isn't it?
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
You got to mix the beans up with a bunch of stuff, like roast them, and then
There wasn't much to do back then.
I would love, we'll never know, but I would like, this would be a great use of a time machine. And I don't know how you would target, like, and find them out, but I dream of this. Show me a TV show where it's just the first time we ate every food.
As soon as we invent quantum mechanical tunneling, we can just do all that.
Like, imagine that fermented fish that they have?
Lutefisk.
Yeah.
This is the most offensive thing ever.
Now, I have a pretty good idea how that came about, but I would still enjoy watching the first time where somebody was like, you know what, I'm going to try it.
It's going to end badly. It's going to be... I like that you can have a machinery, a technology malfunction so severe that it dusts the entire town in chocolate. Like, who engineered that system?
Well, they said it was the filter that goes out. Like, they were taking stuff out. Something happened to it. I guess there was probably a screen or something that buckled.
So do they normally exhaust... Like, does their normal industrial process normally have that much chocolate dust just...
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we'll just throw a filter on that. And
probably catches it.
Yeah. And recycle it. And it's like, ugh.
At the end of the day, they pull the filter off and all the employees get together and just lick it.
It's like the Wonka chocolate factory.
It's like the mixer stick when you pull it out of the mixer. Now, this is, this show, I guess, shows our age, or maybe this is a cultural thing because this is in the UK. But Waffle, did you have any idea?
No.
Krista,
No.
what?
I'd heard of this. I've never been stupid enough to Google it, but I knew.
What context did you know it from?
Just seeing it on the internet, like people be like, "Oh, have you Googled this?" And I was like, "I know it's not. That can be nothing good." It's like Lemon Party. You just don't Google it. Everyone just knew. Like,
that was probably
knew.
flagged in the transcript. Thanks, Krista.
Well,
sorry.
You're hipper than we are. I had no idea. I think this is a bad idea just on the grounds of it doesn't seem appealing, but I didn't know that it meant something else. Krista.
It's a long sound. Which one of us is reading it? I can't see if you flipped.
You're doing it.
Okay, Blue Waffle. Kellogg's inadvertently names latest product after an STI. Now, see, I didn't know enough to know that it was particularly an STI, but I just knew it was something like with genitalia, and I never looked it up because why bring that into your life?
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah,
it's not. It's fake. It's made up. It doesn't exist. It's supposedly a disease that turns your vagina blue, but there is no such disease.
I don't know. I always was told never to Google it.
But a lot of people use it sort of as a, like a placeholder for just, a lady that might be a little questionable in terms of that kind of thing. Kellogg didn't know. I didn't know
see
either.
how you don't Google this when you're doing like research and development. Like,
well, they didn't call them blue waffles. The term blue waffle does not
they're
exist.
mermaid waffles.
Blue raspberry. Raspberry? That's everything about this product is just bizarre. Also, what is on top of it? Is that?
I think those are sprinkles.
But the white stuff
Whipped cream, maybe.
On waffles?
I guess. Everything about it is strange.
IHOP does that. I thought the other one was stranger. They have pink ones, the pink unicorn waffles, aka acid trip waffles.
I think that makes more sense to me.
Does it?
Yeah.
Pink waffles?
Yeah. I don't know why.
I don't know how true this is, but I remember reading about like the color blue. They tell you don't paint your kitchen or like use blue dishes.
Apparently
something about it that's like, humans, we associate the color blue with like inedible or toxic.
And blue plates will supposedly make you eat less.
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't know how true that is, but I have heard that.
Ouch. You give me whatever on a blue plate, it's not going to slow me down at all. I'm going to go hard on a blue plate. Anyway, watch out for blue waffles. I bet those turn your poop green.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So, last week we talked about the diplomat cat who retired, but he was adorable. And this week we have a new celebrity cat who is looking to gain one of the biggest honors in New Zealand. And I don't get to vote, unfortunately, but I would vote for him.
Celebrity cat called Mittens in the running to be New Zealander of the Year. And look at that cat. Look, he just looks like a royalty. He looks like, really, like if you look at his jawline, especially his like jowl, I don't know.
Jowl.
That edge, he looks like the really old guy that's in the British royalty. Like the I don't remember his name. The really old guy, like I think it's Charles. He looks kind of like a cat version of Charles.
There he is with his people. Man of the people. So he is famous for hanging out. He looks a little bit like Ron Perlman.
Yeah, I could see Ron Perlman.
He's famous for hanging out in the city that he lives in and traveling everywhere. And people keep
By bus.
trying to rescue him. So they'll grab him and they'll take him down to the shelter and they're like, no. That's Mittens. He does what he wants.
Yeah, Prince Charles as a cat. See the jawline? It's the same.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that going on. In this picture, not so much in these other pictures.
Yeah, not so much. Well, maybe that one. That's more Ron Perlman.
He's got such a lantern jaw in that one.
But yeah, I mean, just if he weren't smiling, if he had his scowl look, it would be pretty close.
Yeah, I'd say the other front runners are the prime minister and a microbiologist who's apparently working hard on the pandemic. I say give it to the cat.
The cat, obviously.
How do you feel if you're the microbiologist?
I saved us all. What?
Like, you've got the vaccine, you've just finished it, and they call you and they're like, I gave it to Mittens. You just throw it against the wall.
Well, if you're pro New Zealander tip, if you're going to call the microbiologists that they didn't win, tell them there's always next year.
But there might not be. That's the great thing about it. There's every possibility there won't be a next year. There will be for the cat. And our final story is it's based on a video, but oh boy, is this guy adorable.
He's happy.
Now, I gotta say, in both of our recent bear stories, the people have been very cavalier about filming the bears rather than, I don't know, escaping the bears.
Yeah.
Too much Yogi Bear. Not enough. What was the movie where Leonardo DiCaprio was mauled by a bear?
Oh,
Shoot, I know what you're talking
Can't
about, but I
remember
cannot
it.
think of it.
oops. No, I didn't mean
Too
to do
much of the one. Too much of that guy that lived in the mountains that had a pet named Ben.
Like, this is just becoming like geriatric hour because none of us can remember the names of anything.
You might be playing too much of that video. We're gonna get flagged too.
It's not a YouTube video.
Oh well, I mean, it's still. I don't know.
We got to see him. There he is, just chilling out. So he grabbed himself a bag of Tostitos. They are delicious. I like to have some sort of sauce with them, though. I don't like them by themselves.
Well, he did have the trash can nearby.
And
Yeah.
ate the Tostitos and then rummaged through the trash can. Looked like he found some kind of like takeout or something someone had thrown away, and he was just there enjoying it. People were honking their horns trying to spook him away, but
Didn't care.
He's beginning to be labeled as a problem bear. And
Oh,
has to be
Krista.
forcibly relocated.
Krista, what's the rhyme that we all need to remember?
A fed bear is a dead bear. They will they'll first try to relocate him, but if he keeps coming back, they'll have to put him down
Yeah.
because he'll get aggressive with people if they have food.
That's gonna suck because if they relocate him, he's gonna have to learn the layout of a new grocery store, and that's such a pain.
We actually had that same issue here. I mean, a bear didn't walk into the grocery store, but it became, angry because it wanted food at a campsite in the Daniel Boone, and they had to relocate a problem bear.
No castrations in these examples yet.
Not yet.
The Mexicans don't mess around. All right, that's it.
That's all we got for this week.
Weird episode. All nonsense. A first time. That's all I have to say about that.
I'm trying to think of a good goodbye, but I can't think of one. How about
Yeah.
fed bear goodbye?
Fedbear, bye.
All right,
Bye.
see you next week.